Abstinent, is that a drink?
Yeah. I set up a program of food that I wasn't going to eat.
Right.
You know, fast food.
You decide.
I decide.
Yeah.
It's up to me.
Okay.
But, you know, I go to OA. You know what that is?
Sure.
Yeah. So I go there, and that's where I learned about abstinence, where you pick a meal plan.
Right.
And stick to the meal plan.
Do you do grayscale?
You mean the gray sheet?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Not very many people know about the gray sheet.
I know, it's like the secret OA thing.
Yeah. I've done the gray sheet.
And that's just like managing everything that goes in your face, right?
Yes, that's a strict, was invented by a priest in the 60s.
Really?
In OA. Yeah, I've done it. I'm basically doing that a little different because I built in 2 snacks.
Mm-hmm.
And,
what are those?
Oh, like, you know, nothing good. Could I just say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, here's an apple. Oh, God. Ooh, apple. So it's a state of mind is really what it is. It's an honest-to-God state of mind.
You got to get in it and stay in it.
Yeah, you have to. This is 4 weeks, but this is the rest of my life.
Right.
That's the change. Because on baskets, I had so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
But at that point, there was a point recently where I went, oh, when you see yourself and you go, oh, God. Oh, God. You know, like that scene where I'm going up the stairs. That was difficult for me to go up the stairs.
Yeah.
And I said, it shouldn't be difficult for me to go up the stairs.
Right.
And so I was going to have the sleeve operation. You know what that is?
Where they cut your...
They just
take a piece of your intestine out?
No, they cut your stomach in half, basically.
And they just throw it away?
They just throw it away.
Oh. But
isn't that like the most weird? So there's a part of your stomach that has gremlins in it.
Yeah.
I think they're a... hormone.
Okay. Oh, right,
and so at night,
Yeah.
those are the things that go, hey, Mark,
Yeah.
starving. We just ate. Oh, we didn't really eat. We're starving. And
then you get up.
And they cut those out.
Really?
Yeah, they remove them, and then people have had tremendous success. Everybody I've met who's had that has lost 100 to 150 pounds in a short amount of time.
But like with OA, like, because I know 12-step stuff. I mean, what does it look like for you when you're out of control with the food?
Well, let's see. Not like,
yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mine is just like, it's like I could eat 12 pieces of toast buttered with coffee. And you know, if you do that slowly, that doesn't seem like a big deal.
But it is a day. It's like it's in the morning. It's an hour, right?
Yeah,
if you're taking your time.
Yeah. But I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
You make I have a 4-slicer. You make 4 slices.
Yeah.
And then you butter them, and then you put 4 more pieces of bread in, so you can cut out that time.
But is there a moment where you're like, I'm not gonna? You know what? I'll just have 4 more.
Yeah. I think you're not even. There's always a moment,
right?
But you know, this is a whole switch. You know, there's a switch in your brain.
Yeah.
Whether you're either in your addiction or you're not. Am I right?
That's absolutely right.
And I'm out. I'm not in my addiction.
It's a relief.
I'm not allowed. Yeah, it's such a relief.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I was in a meeting and they had a cake stand of pastries.
At OA?
No. But that's really funny. I used to go to this OA meeting where everybody went to eat afterwards, and I go, this isn't good. We shouldn't be going to eat afterwards.
Not together.
Yes, and together, because, you know.
Someone's going to be like, come on, you guys.
Yeah,
so it's just...
never a booth. Never a booth.
So what, you're at, so there's a bunch of pastries?
On a cake thing, and I just, you know what, I looked at them, you know, because I wanted to have what everybody does, you know, a piece of the donut or a slice of the muffin or all that stuff, and I just, I didn't have it. I had a cup of cappuccino.
Oh, thank God. I mean, I'm shooting my show now, and I'm a compulsive eater too.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm just so fucking hard on myself, and the craft services. I mean, it's just.
Isn't it amazing why we're so hard on? I just wanted to stop that because I'm so hard on myself, and I go, Louie, don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Your dad's dead.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about him kicking the door of your bedroom in and going, hey, let's get some push-ups going.
But
you bastard.
But what I learned, it's the dad inside you.
Yeah. Well, you're the dad. Yeah, it's the dad inside you.
That's the part.
That's a really good point.
And like that guy, like how do you get that guy to die?
I think what you have to do with him is
just tell him he doesn't live here.
Yeah. No, I mean, basically, isn't that it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the switch again.
Yeah.
It's the door that you lock, that you're not going to revisit that.
Yeah.
Because isn't self-pity like one of the most beautiful things comics love?
But it's so appalling. Like it
can kill you. That's the really sad part. And people have to be careful.
And then when it escalates, it's just bitterness. Like if you give self-pity the angry voice, fuck those guys.
Yeah,
fuck them.
Hey, I'll kill every fucker around. Hey,
that guy doesn't deserve
I did a joke for a long time. But, people say, a guy was raised by wolves. I go, and I was raised by bakers, and never got a laugh once. And I always thought, because that's a good joke to me, but only if you're a fat person can you even get you know what I mean? They just don't get it. They just
they're missing the piece. They don't go
and you can't do jokes about addiction.
Yeah.
Too seriously.
Oh, yeah, because people feel sorry for you.
Yeah, then they get sad.
Yeah, they're like, he's in trouble.
You're okay.
Yeah, that's not...
You're okay. Shut up.
I wanted to laugh.
Yeah.
I don't need support.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I get letters from people all the time. Like, I get letters like, hey, I'm reaching out to you because I noticed, that you're obviously unhappy and awfully big.
Oh, my God.
And if there's any way I can be of any help. Really sweet, lovely.
Do you get the Jesus letters? Like maybe you have a God-shaped hole that you're trying to feed.
Yeah. But I love, like I always say to them, I'm good. I'm good with God.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not, I'm not.
We have an understanding.
Yeah. He's obviously bestowed a nice gift on me and a lot of luck. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So wait, I have memories of you. Like I'm surprised you remember me from the Comedy Store. But I guess
man.
Yeah, my little long-haired, sweaty Mark.
Yeah,
really, coked up Mark.
You were always nice, though.
Yeah, there was.
There weren't a lot of nice comics.
No,
but you and I'm not putting that we hung out together or anything. But we both, I think, occupied a spot at the Comedy Store.
Yeah,
that was. Oh, and those guys.
Yeah.
No matter what, we were like, oh yeah, we could put you on at some point.
Yeah. But like, I was a doorman.
Right.
When I first got out there, I was a doorman, and that was 1987, 88. So you were pretty,
I was in it then.
You were in it, and you were, you really were at the top of the, you were the big comic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you were popular. And I remember the first time I met you, like I made a mistake, and I still it sort of still sits with me. Like I was working the door in the main room, and you're like, who's on? And and I said, you said who's going on next? And I said so and so, and you're like, nah, I don't want to wait. And I'm like, and then I said, well, can't you just bump them? And I was making sort of a fat joke, right? And you were like, don't you ever.
Did I?
Oh, yeah.
But just for fun?
No. You
I
were
was mad.
You were sort of putting me in my place, and I'm like, he's right. That was a little,
right.
I don't know that guy.
I like that you did that impression of me. Hey, who's on?
But
I hated bumping people. I hated bumping people.
I don't like doing it. I don't know if I can do it. I don't even know if I'm at that level yet. But it's always seemed rude to me. I guess if you're going to do like 7 minutes because you got to do a thing.
Yeah, that would be the reason.
That's one thing.
I just didn't want to go late. And I didn't want to go after when somebody was really filthy.
Well, then that way you didn't work at the store for after a while.
Well, sometimes because I'd go, somebody comes up and they go, and then I come up and go butter.
Yeah.
Get out of here! We hate butter.
Keep it going for Sam Kinison. Next up, Louie
Anderson. Hey, do you want to hear my thing I used to do with Sam?
Yeah.
So Sam would kill it. Nobody wanted to follow Sam.
Yeah.
Because, you wanted to have some fun yourself.
Well, he'd make a mess of the place.
Yeah. He'd just crush it.
Yeah. But even if he didn't kill, people would be like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a different...
Changed the whole energy.
And then he'd get off and I go, Sam, bring him back. Sam. Oh, my God, everybody. Sam.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. I keep it going.
Yeah.
And I go, can you guys see if Sam will come back and just take another bow? Folks, you'd like that, right? Yes, we'd like it. And I'd keep doing it until people were going, okay. we're done with him. Then I had...
Then you had their attention.
Yeah, because otherwise, but I would just do it, and I was doing it for fun myself.
Right,
too. Like,
yeah.
Can you believe it? I'd go to the front row. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Come on, bring him. Sam!
And he's already in the back doing blow, running around. He was a piece of work.
Yeah.
But when did you sort of, where'd you start? In Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That little club in Minneapolis.
Which one?
Mickey Finn's.
Yeah?
1978.
That while ago?
Yeah.
And you grew up in Minneapolis?
I grew up in St. Paul, but people will still introduce you from Minneapolis.
Yeah, because no one knows what
St. Paul. They don't. That's nothing to people.
But how was you huge family, right?
Yeah, 11 kids.
How does that happen?
People say, "Were you Catholic?" I go, "No, my dad was a musician."
Was he?
Yeah, he was a pretty famous musician early in the 1900s. Believe it or not.
Wow.
See, I'm the second to the youngest.
Yeah.
And so my dad was born in 1901.
So you were like the 10th kid?
I was the 10th kid out of 11.
Uh-huh.
And my mom was obviously very fertile.
Mm-hmm.
She had 16 children. 5 died. 2 sets of twins. And the first baby died.
Uh-huh.
Because babies dying back then was probably more common than...
So you didn't know any of them? They died at childbirth?
I never experienced any of that.
Right.
That was all long before me.
Right.
I was the second to the last child.
Yeah. How old was your mom when she had you?
41, I think.
God, she must have had... So she had one every couple of years?
Yeah, she used to say... Because back then they'd keep you in a hospital for a week.
Yeah.
If you had a baby.
Yeah.
And she'd say, that's the only vacation I ever get is when I have a baby. And I always thought, poor mom. She was the sweetest person in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the model for that character I'm doing.
Oh, it's such a great character. Because Zach was like, I hear a voice for my mother, and it sounds like Louie Anderson. And apparently Louis C.K. just like, well, let's call Louie Anderson. Is that what happened?
Isn't that a funny thing?
Yeah.
Like, I got a call from Steve Levine, agent, at ICM.
Yeah.
And he says, Louis C.K. wants your number. And I go, give it to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he called me. He goes, Louis, I'm with Zach and Galifianakis. We're doing a sitcom, and we want you to play a part. And I go, yeah.
Sure.
Those two people call you. You go, yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, we want you to play Zach's mom. I go, yes.
Yeah.
I've been doing my mom's voice in my act, since
the beginning. Yeah. So you're just doing your mom, basically.
I'm just doing my mom.
But you had no problem with the. It seems to me that you really are enjoying it.
I'm loving it.
That I
grew up with 5 sisters.
Yeah.
And a really sweet mom.
But is this the first time you sort of theoretically?
This is the first time that I did anything except for Don Irera in one of his specials.
Yeah.
I played the maid who came in while he was sleeping.
Right.
And he goes, was that Louie Anderson?
Yeah.
That was just that little tiny. It's the only time I ever.
So you're doing drag, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. But I've never looked at it as drag. I have to be honest with you, Mark.
No, right.
You know what I just tried to do with the character is be real.
Right. That's how it's
trying
playing.
to change the voice.
People are loving it.
People love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good
Jonathan
for you.
Kreisel.
Yeah.
You know who he is.
I do know who he is.
Portlandia.
Oh, yeah. Who directed it?
He directed all the episodes.
And what did he? What was the direction? They just let you do what you wanted to do?
No, he had a very specific thing in mind, Jonathan.
Really? What was that?
He said to me at the beginning of the project, he said, think of this as a 3.5-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's a really good way of looking at
the whole
something.
series.
Yeah, the whole series.
Uh-huh.
And then he would never say it wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. But he would say, what if we try it?
Right.
Or just some little, it was always minute, you know? It was minimal words. And then I would say oftentimes, hey, can I just say it how my mom would say it?
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of those words have come from.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like, that whole Arby's.
Yeah.
We had an Arby's.
Sure.
That was our first fast food by our house.
Sure.
And the curly fries.
Oh, that stuff. I think it's paprika.
Yeah. Well, I always think paprika is the funniest.
Yeah. Word.
Of words of all the spices. You want paprika on it?
Yeah.
No, I don't want paprika on it.
But then you're like, if you find one of those curly fries makers, I'd like to have one.
I would like to have one. Wouldn't you like to have one? I mean, not that you'd
But
use
then
it
I'd
ever.
fry later.
But I know, but not that you'd ever use it. But
just to
you'd
have
have it. You could just take it out of the drawer.
Yeah.
That's a Midwestern thing.
Sure.
Here, let me show you something. What? Look at this. Do you know what it is? No. It's a curly fry cutter.
Yeah.
And then put it back.
And that's it.
Do you have one? No, I didn't think so. That's the essence of my mom. I didn't think so.
But there is something about the Midwest. There's this sort of sturdy kind of, emotional monotone that is very passive aggressive and very sort of like polite,
yes.
but a little jabby.
I used to do a bit in my act, but nobody really liked me doing it.
Yeah.
I do a bit where Midwesterners will cut you with a razor.
Yeah.
And then go, oh, my God, let me run up and get my first aid kit.
Yeah.
And then they will bandage you up. I don't know what got into me. I just was nervous.
Yeah.
And then when they get it all bandaged up, they will rip the bandage off. Again, oh, I don't know why I did that. And it's just a constant, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like they're so, because I have a theory that they're in the house too long.
And it's cold.
From the
right,
winter,
right.
you're in the house too long and you start thinking, I'm going to kill somebody.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose
Cabin
my
fever.
mind. Cabin fever.
So your dad, what kind of musician
We
was
never
your
had
dad?
a cabin.
No, you never did?
My dad, believe it or not, played with Hoagie Carmichael.
Big band guy?
Yeah, big band and jazz. He was a jazz trumpet and cornet player.
Really?
Yeah.
And he toured? He was a touring
He
musician?
toured. You know, one time in the 80s, I was opening for Crosby, Stills, and Nash for,
Really?
For a benefit. Yeah. I always had, I never played the clubs. I got really lucky. I went from the Tonight Show to the Comedy Store at the Dunes, and I got to remember this writer's name, but he was a Vegas writer. There's a street named after him there. And he reviewed me, and it was such a great review that the next week I got a job opening for the Commodores at Bally's.
Right, yeah, in Vegas.
And I had an agent, Frank Rio,
yeah.
who handled Bob Hope, Marlena Dietrich, and lots of big artists.
Yeah.
What's his name? Johnny Mathis, and
Yeah.
all these people. And so he started getting me gigs.
Yeah.
I went from the Commodores to the Pointer Sisters to Smokey Robinson to Natalie Cole.
All in Vegas or touring?
All in Vegas.
Yeah.
Almost, well, a few touring, like, the Westbury Music Fair.
Yeah.
So I started getting those jobs.
Yeah.
And they were real lucrative.
Yeah.
That was more money than I ever made, like, in a year.
Well, let's track it. Let's go back and write it out. So your dad, so you're in Vegas and someone knew your dad or what?
There's a guy the security comes to me after the show. There's a guy who, your dad taught him trumpet lessons.
Huh.
I go, good, bring him back, because we have no memorabilia of my dad.
Did you know him?
I didn't know the guy.
Your dad?
Yeah, I knew my dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote a book about my dad, Dear Dad.
And
I'll send it over to you.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah, so letters I wrote to my dad 10 years after he died.
Oh, how old were you when he died?
I was 27.
Oh, so you knew him, yeah.
I knew him.
How?
And this guy came back and he said, your dad, I took trumpet lessons from your dad. He was a great trumpet lesson. I go, what was he like? He was hard. He was tough. I go, I know he was a prick, right? And you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I go, oh, good, he wasn't just mean to me.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But he brought me a poster, a wood block print.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Louie Anderson and his orchestra.
Wow.
And it looked, like I was named after him. It
Yeah.
looked like one of my posters from the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And it was just it was like, oh, my dad, because I had heard about all this stuff.
Right.
But it was real. My dad toured. He was probably in these kind of places.
Sure.
So it was a big thing to me.
So by the time you kind of have a memory or relationship with him, he was not working as a musician anymore?
He was 50 when I was born.
Right.
So he had false teeth and he pretty much lost his lip for playing the trumpet.
Really?
Yeah, but he would play the harmonica and he would play the ukulele when my mom was mad at him.
Oh, he'd go into
He'd
the room.
do love songs.
Oh,
to her,
really?
yeah.
To make it up to her?
Yeah, to try and make it up to her.
So your relationship with him, he was hard on you?
He was an alcoholic.
Sure.
He was a mean, violent alcoholic.
To all
he
his-
never hit me.
Yeah.
But he was very mean to my mom and hit my older brothers and sisters before I was really, even in the family.
So by the time you were awake, he was
tired. He was tired. Yeah. You know, I hear that about parents all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, that they get exhausted.
They get exhausted, and then.
But you grew up in that chaos. I grew up in that. Like when? Yeah. What's that kind of?
It's like a nuclear bomb. I always tell people, growing up in a alcoholic family, is one of the weirdest things because it's like being around nuclear fallout.
Yeah, yeah.
Because later in your life, it comes up. Like you go, you know, it really affects your whole life.
Well, yeah, but what someone brought up to me that I didn't really think about, which makes good sense, is that when you have a parent like that, you just don't know what the hell's going to happen ever.
Right. Like yes is no, no is yes, and you're right.
And when they're coming home, you're like, what's it going to be like?
Yeah, you had that kind of parent?
Well, he was a bipolar guy. Oh, so, like, it was erratic. It wasn't alcohol-based, but it was still like...
Same behavior, though, right?
Is he going to blow up? Is it, you know, because he wasn't home that much. You know, he's a doctor. So when he was home, you're like, all right, everyone's got to play this game now. You know, I hope he can find everything he's looking for.
Tiptoeing around, right?
Right. God forbid he decides, like, where's that hat? And like, oh, no.
Oh, God. And, you know, they do it on purpose, it seemed like.
I know.
You just want to go, your hat's right here.
Yeah, but you don't know where it is.
But you don't know it. And there isn't even a hat, maybe.
There might not be.
There might not be a hat.
Yeah, and then after he's made everyone cry, he's like, oh, I think I got rid of that. And then you're like,
and then no conscience about it or anything. But did you ever have this happen? Where you walked in the house and you knew you picked up on it immediately without seeing anyone.
You just feel it.
You just felt it.
Yeah, like
and I don't know if that was something you imagined and it turned out that way, or if it's something you develop.
I think you must develop, because I have the same thing now with audiences a lot of times. Like, and you must have it. I mean, comics don't talk about it that much, but I can sit backstage in the main room, you know, whoever's on before me, and hear just the vibration. I'm like, all right, I know where that's. Yeah. Or if you walk into a room and you're like, no, there's a little badness here. That table, that's going to be a problem. You can feel the vibe of it. Sometimes I'm wrong and I'm projecting, but you know.
Most times you're not, though, because I do it all the time. I'll hear somebody say the wrong way they're saying it, scream out or drunk. Or,
right.
I go, hey, make sure they're out by the time I get on there. Because I'm all about removing people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any qualms.
Well, because your presentation, why would you want to engage with that? I mean, some dudes will fucking do that thing.
I won't do it.
No, why not? Why would
I don't want anything to do with that. I'm a sensitive child.
Yeah,
on stage.
I know.
I am. I'm not the guy who.
Yeah.
Because I get too mean, and people go, God, he can be mean.
You don't want to show him that.
But I go, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we should be able to kill hecklers, I'll say.
Yeah, right.
Huh? It would change comedy. People wouldn't, they wouldn't fuck around anymore.
Oh, that's funny, because your tone is so sweet and you're so wide open that the moment there's a problem, it's like, hey, you're a bad, you should go to hell.
And then people go, oh, I don't trust Louie anymore now. I don't like him.
There's a lot going on in there we don't know about.
Oh, he's
bad inside, that guy.
Don't give him the pie afterwards. He doesn't deserve it.
That's so weird, though. So when you wrote the book to your father, you were sort of reckoning with your feelings, and
I was on tour.
Yeah,
I was at the Summerfest. You know what that is in Milwaukee? It's an outdoor thing, which is the worst forever.
Oh, it's the worst for comedy.
The worst. The worst. And I was In Excess was in the stall next to me, so they were playing while I was talking.
Oh boy,
which was
so there were two stages.
There were like 2 or 3 stages.
Oh, it's the worst.
The worst, and it was daytime.
Yeah,
and people were like walking through.
You can't focus.
What is he? Hey, fatty! He's all right. You're all right, though. Shut up. So I'm coming out of. People think they're funny. That's
but it's always that kind of like that weird drunky lady just walking by and wants a little attention.
Yeah.
Hey! Ugh, God.
Hey, I know you.
Yeah.
Shut up. So I'm driving out of there, and drunks were avoiding hitting drunks. And I'm getting a car ride out to the hotel.
Yeah.
And I get back and while I'm doing that, I go, oh, this is like my life with my dad.
As a passenger, you were.
Yeah, I was in the back seat, getting a ride back to the where they have the volunteers that take you back. Mm-hmm. And the guy's going, look at all these drunks, and I go, yeah. And I get back and I write a letter to my dad. I don't know why. I just had a journal and I wrote in it.
Yeah.
And I wrote a letter.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I just finished this and blah, blah, blah. Just spilled it out. And then I wrote like...
and he's already passed.
He's already dead, 10 years.
Right.
And I just kept writing these letters on the tour, filling up these journals.
Yeah.
And People magazine, Todd Gold was going to do an article on adult children of alcoholics.
Oh, yeah.
So they said, do you have anything? I go, I have these letters.
Yeah.
And I gave him a few of the letters.
Mm-hmm.
And I got such a response from people writing in that I was in the process of doing an autobiography for Simon & Schuster.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want to do that. I want to do this book. And they said, well, we don't want to do that book. And so I said, well, I'm not doing the book you want.
Yeah.
So I went to my agent, found me Penguin.
Yeah.
And they did the book, and it turned out to be a bestseller. It's on Amazon now. It's finally on Kindle.
Did you do a book on tape?
I did do a book on tape. It was very emotional. Lots of crying in it.
Really?
Yeah, because this book is very emotional. You know,
sure, of course.
I completely take the journey to find out who my dad really was.
Right.
Like my dad was a fascinating guy that I didn't know.
Sure.
He was raised, his father was a great inventor.
Mm-hmm.
He invented like 50 things.
Curly fry cutter?
Well, a deep fryer.
Yeah.
Deep fryer. He invented some sort of deep fryer thing way back.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an alcoholic, and he sold them all to lawyers, all the patents.
Yeah.
And then him and his wife would go on these cross-country train drunks and leave the kids.
Right.
And on one of the trips, there was a murder in the house by a Swedish gang.
On the train?
No.
Or in your house?
No, in my dad's house growing up.
Oh, okay.
His parents were gone.
Yeah.
And there was a murder.
Uh-huh.
And it was a Swedish gang in Minnesota, which was a weird thing.
Yeah.
And they took all the kids away, including my dad.
Huh.
Because
they were
because they weren't there.
Right.
And there was a murder.
Right. Who got murdered?
Somebody at the house. It wasn't one of them that got murdered,
right.
But the daughter who was in charge of them killed herself out of
shame.
Yeah, out of shame. And then my dad got adopted out. You know what? They got put up for adoption. Mm-hmm. You know how that works? Mm-hmm. They put people, where that term comes from, put you up in front of the congregation at the church.
Really?
And people would pick who they wanted.
Wow.
And then
it was like a service. So like they
well, I mean, it was like it was good and but it was but it was good and bad. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like the kids didn't have a place, so the community was trying to be helpful. But
Lutherans,
yeah. And so I think they were Lutherans. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But my dad and his sister got split up. He had a sister who was very close in his age. He went one place and she went another, and it destroyed him. And he got adopted by a German family who worked him as a farmhand, and he stayed in a different part of the house and he ate different food.
And he never indentured servant.
Yeah, he never.
Oh my God!
And then at 15, he went and made them sign a thing. He goes, I want to join the army. He says, I want you to sign this and say I'm old enough to join the army.
And did they?
And they did, and he became a bugle player.
For World War II?
Yeah, World War I.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like 1916 or 1917.
That's a crazy story.
It is, isn't it?
So
it's a good story, though. And so I figured that out. I go, oh, my God, my dad had a most miserable thing.
Yeah.
You know, he was a better person than his parents were in some, grotesque way, right?
Well, there's a journey to it, like as an adult child.
The book is a complete journey, you're right.
Of an alcoholic. You've got all this resentment, and you've got all this shame and, all this stuff that you hold them responsible for, and they're monsters in your eyes. And it sounds to me that the process of working through this and finding more out about him allowed you to see him as a person and maybe forgive him.
I did forgive him. The book is all about forgiveness. And I got 10,000 letters from that book. I have all the letters still in storage.
Of people that were like, you really
had
helped
much
me?
worse, but had much worse lives than I. Like, I'd read those letters and go, oh, my God, this guy. One guy sent me when he was beat by his father by a 2x4.
Oh, my God.
As a child. And he still loved his father.
Well, that's
because they're
your father.
They're your father.
It's so fucked up, Louie.
Like my dad, it is. But this is what I always say to people. Even I mean, this is how people get damaged. Like when husbands and wives divorce.
Yeah.
Even though my dad was a monster, the fact that he stayed together was better than had he left.
Right.
On some weird deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so isn't that the weirdest thing? Like the sunshine you need to get from your father's, being there.
Yeah.
Is so necessary, even if he's a monster.
Well, I don't know if you've heard this, but this was like, I just read about this recently, is that the thing is, though, about loving the monster when you're a kid, is what happens when you're a little kid, you know that there's something wrong. Right. Right? But they're your dad. Right. So you love him. Right. Right? So you think like, well, then if you love your dad and that's your dad and you have to love him because it's your nature and he's a monster, who gets to blame for feeling shitty? You do. Right. Right. That's so crazy.
Yeah. Because you are the reason they drink when you grow up. You're the reason your dad was bipolar. Right. If he wouldn't have had you, if he would have just had the other kids. Right. I mean, that's how people do it, though.
Or just the fact, like, maybe I feel weird, I feel emotionally abused or alienated, so it must be my problem. When it's really because they're emotionally incapable. So you blame yourself, and then you make this weird parent inside of you that can barely handle you. Right. I don't know. It gets a little crazy, but
the good thing is, for both of us, is how many jobs could we have done? Do you know what I'm saying? Look at you. You have the #1 podcast in the world because of that miserable father. I mean, I hate to say that. No, I have the same thing because of my crazy mother and my miserable father.
Right. It's
the gift that just keeps giving. Yeah. And taking and giving and taking.
But do you ever think about that? Like, I don't know. When I see people who have regular jobs and stuff, God bless them. Yeah, I'm glad they're doing okay. But like, I would not fit into that environment. I don't know how to behave like a person.
But I'll ask you a question that I was asked when the book came out. Yeah. What would you trade that childhood for a normal upbringing? And I always said, yeah, I would.
I think I would
because
too.
I think that's the right thing to say. Because I already had this, and this wasn't easy.
It's not easy.
So, yes. So, like, other people also don't know how to deal with you because they go, are you crazy? Right. And you go, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And they go, because there's, like the whole thing is, for our family, did you have this?
What?
Where secrets were currency? They're like the power in the family. You don't talk about your family being,
right.
You couldn't have friends over because you didn't know how your dad was going to act.
Right.
People were terrified of my dad because he would yell at them in the yard if they walked on his lawn.
Right. When also it's a little embarrassing.
Oh, completely embarrassing.
Yeah.
And you don't want your dad to be drunk in a chair.
Yeah. My mom was a little more embarrassing than my dad. It's because but secrets, it turns out what's weird about secrets is that, like, with your father, like, you get to a certain age, and if they live long enough, then they'll be like, "Now you want to know something?" I'm like, "I don't think so," because they'll start telling me shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh, what?
And there's such was your mom, like my mom was a lovely person, but she enabled a lot of this behavior.
Yeah, right.
Like my dad quit drinking at 69, and my mom turned to me and said, "I told you he'd quit." And I go, "Oh my God." I mean, oh my God. I couldn't even I didn't even say anything to her. I just walked in my room, I think, and just went, "Oh my God.
This is what you come from.
This is
the denial."
She thinks that she got him to quit.
At 69.
At 69.
How did your other siblings fare?
They all suffered.
Yeah.
There was drinking, people who were a lot like my dad, and the physiology became, some became alcoholics. The people who were like my mom, which is me,
more codependent,
became fat and codependent, those kind of things. Yeah. Enabled people. But
are they, how many of them are around?
I only have, there's only 5 of us left.
Close?
Out of 11.
Are you close?
Yeah, super close.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because we're all like, oh man.
Are they up in
We made it.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, yeah.
We made it. We made it.
Are they in Minnesota?
They're in Minnesota or Wisconsin or South Dakota. That's where my mom grew up in South Dakota. My dad grew up in Minnesota.
God, really kind of Midwest.
Yeah, very Midwest.
Full on.
Full on.
And you got a bunch of nephews and nieces and
27 nephews
oh my
and
God.
nieces and 22 great nephews and nieces.
So big family stuff.
Big family.
Oh, that's nice, right?
Yeah. We just had 100 people, 100 and some people show up for a summer little reunion. It was really nice, and it's really fun to see how they're doing better.
Yeah.
How they have escaped.
Yeah.
You know, like I think the DNA spreads a little.
Yeah.
So that it's not so, but
breaks down a little.
Yeah. But a lot of people went through drug use or drug addiction, and those addictions are sneaky.
Yeah, and they do run in families.
They do run in families.
So let's go to let's track the comedy life. When did you decide to be an entertainer?
I used to watch the Tonight Show with my dad.
Oh, you bonded with that?
Yeah, because he was a musician. He loved Doc Severinsen.
Yeah.
The trumpet player. And then he'd let me stay up and watch The Comedian. I always wanted to watch The Comedian.
Oh, yeah?
And Johnny and Jack Benny was I was a big Jack Benny fan.
Loved him?
Yeah. His timing, it was just so beautiful.
Yeah, no one does that like you.
Well, it's sweet of you to say, but
it's a rare thing, dude.
Yeah, nowadays I don't think very many people do it. And Jonathan Winters, I was infatuated with his crazy Bob Hope, Johnny Carson, Richard Pryor, and Jackie Vernon. Did you ever know?
I loved him.
He was one of my favorites.
He was one of my favorites.
Yeah, sing-songy.
Yeah, he's so sweet too. There was some great. He was a sad sack.
He was a sad sack, which is exactly what my character has been often.
Yeah,
I mean,
you think so?
I think so. You know, he's a fat guy. He's doing this stuff.
Yeah, I guess
kind of
so.
a sad sack character.
Yeah.
If I just did I used to just do one-liners. I can't stay long. I'm in between meals.
Yeah.
I used to do that. I went to a fat camp, broad jump, I killed her. You know, just fat jokes.
Yeah.
And it was a fat character.
So that's what you started doing.
So that's what I was a very deliberate, like Hope in the delivery.
Well, that's efficient.
Yeah. It was very efficient, and I paced, and I did that. And then I was kind of a Rickles comic. I would tear.
Well, where does this start? So you're watching that when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
I did a dare. I wasn't going to be a comic, but somebody dared me to do it because they thought because people would always laugh.
How old were you?
I was 25.
Did you go to college?
I did go to a place called Antioch Communiversity. You know, in the
Communiversity. I've never heard that word.
In the 60s, 70s. Where the kind of in all the poor areas. I grew up very poor.
Really?
Yeah, they grew up. They had these communiversities.
Yeah.
And it was all, I think me and my brother were the only white kids in it.
Yeah.
And they had like an Angela Davis dean who married a white lawyer. It was just like, I go, and it was
radical.
Very radical. And I learned a lot. I was a political science major. And then I just said, I'm just such a bad student.
Yeah.
And I don't want to read all this.
Yeah.
I want to just hang around. I just want to comics just want to hang around.
They do just want
And I think I had a little learning disability reading.
Yeah.
Because later, when I found audiobooks, I was voracious in my reading, but to read and comprehend, I had a problem with it.
So you're 25.
25, did it on a dare.
Yeah. Where?
At Mickey Finn's on 3rd and Central in this little 50-seat bar.
Yeah.
With Jeff Gerbino, Scott Hansen, Gary Johnson. These are all Alex Cole. I don't know if Cesario was there yet or not, but...
He's a Minneapolis guy?
Yeah, he's Kenosha, but he came to Minneapolis. And
Alex Cole, I think I recognize that name.
Alex Cole. Scott Hansen, the great big guy.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever work with him?
No.
And we only had, and Jeff Gerbino, and we just had like 6 or 7 people.
Yeah.
So that's when the show was over. So we'd all do, our 15, and then I became the MC. Because I said, I'll be an MC.
So you started the comedy scene then?
No, they started, but I came very shortly after.
And on the dare, the first time you did it, how'd it go?
I killed it.
Yeah.
Just because I had all my friends there. And my dad was there, and my mom was there. So it was just going to be a one-time thing.
So it was like an open mic kind of thing?
It was an open mic. I did like 3 minutes.
And you loved it?
And I said, this is fun.
Yeah.
And and my legs were shaking, and the guy said, and I was way too on the mic like that, and my friend said, hold back, Louie, hold back. And I go, I'm doing the best I can. These are the best jokes I have, trying to be funny and that. And then it felt so comfortable.
Mm-hmm. And so you started off, the first jokes you wrote were all weight related?
I think the first one was, I can't stay long. Let me move this so you can see me.
Oh, right.
Fat jokes like that. Sure. I was a kid voted most likely to become a group.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. When I was born, I weighed 60 pounds. It's real rudimentary. Sure. The doctor had to bring a crane in to slap my ass. Those kind of jokes that you just look back and go, wow.
Complete self-deprecating.
Yeah, complete self-deprecating. And then one day, I love to work, and so we worked 7 days a week. We had a very vibrant comedy scene in Minneapolis because it was just a little club, and it was packed, and we charged $1, and we were so happy to split it up. Bill Bauer, too. If you ever remember Bill Bauer.
Man.
Bill Bauer was God rest his soul. He was a great comic. So one day a guy was I go, is that your dad? To the kid, he goes, oh, is that your dad?
Yeah.
He goes, is he nice? He goes, yeah, he's a nice guy. I go, my dad, he wasn't nice. He never hit us. He'd just carry a gun.
Yeah.
And then I did. He never shot it. He'd go, and then I hit on that vein.
Yeah.
I mean, I started.
The family vein.
I hit on the family thing.
Yeah.
And a guy who we were working with, Roman DeCare, a little guy who played a tiny harmonica.
Yeah.
Said, Louie, if you do that family stuff and you have a clean act, you'll become famous. And for some reason, that stuck when he said it. I mean, he was an older person, and I thought, well, he must know something. He's a Shriner.
Yeah.
And then that was a really wonderful thing to stumble on the family stuff.
Yeah.
My mom, and then I just told the real things about my mom and dad.
Yeah. And people loved it.
And people liked it because I do the voice, and I made my dad a real mean guy.
Yeah. And was he all the time?
He didn't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
Do you know that thing with a dad like that?
Yeah.
But he was a lovely person. If you met him, he would be very nice to you.
Sure, they always are.
Yeah.
And then
the monsters are. Yeah. Then the door closes. All right, everybody. All right.
Party's over.
Yeah, party's over. Where's my wrench? It was always that when you said that hat thing.
Oh, fuck.
Because we used to, it was like
terror.
Living with the terrorists.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, and you'd hear the sounds of things like, where's that? Right, here we go.
It was like out of a cartoon. Yeah. It was like what is it? The Tasmanian devil.
Right. Slowly
throwing.
Yeah.
Oh, I know they did it. My family did it. I'm going to get that. And then he'd yell, and, he'd terrorize everyone, and then we'd eat.
Yeah.
And my mom would feed us.
Frightening.
Just have some food.
Yeah. So when did you go to L.A.? When did you decide? Now, who else was there? So you named some of the guys. Was
Jeff Turbino.
Right.
Who's still doing comedy. Scott Hans is still doing comedy.
I think I know Scott Hansen. I just can't picture him.
Alex Cole.
Yeah.
Jeff Cesario, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joel Hodgson came onto the scene.
Yeah.
He did it. I'm sure I'm missing Liz Winstead eventually joined that whole group.
Yeah.
And it was a good scene, because Minneapolis has more theater seats.
Yeah, I love playing
outside of New York.
And it's a good audience.
Great audiences.
They're not mean.
No, they're lovely people. That's why they taught me how to really do the stand-up, really.
Well, you're afforded, that luxury of having painfully polite people.
Yeah. Well, they give you a shot.
Uh-huh. Yeah, right.
But if they didn't like it, they didn't laugh.
Right, yeah, right.
They just sit there. And, I met some really important people in my comedy life.
Oh, yeah, I know Scott.
There in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
I met Leonard Barr, who was very nice to us. We brought him in. Jeff Turbino was really smart. He goes, let's bring Leonard Barr in because people know who he is, and we'll pay him, and then, we'll be all able to perform. Then we brought Henny Youngman in. Yeah, and then Henny Youngman really liked me, and I wrote for him for a while.
You did?
Yeah, I was a terrible writer, but he liked me. He had a heavy grandson, Larry Kelly, who became a good friend of mine, and I wrote jokes for his grandson. He goes, write some of those fat jokes for my grandson. All right, now get out of here. No, he was really sweet. And then Rodney came to town at the Celebrity Carlton room, the Carlton Celebrity Room.
Yeah.
And we all went down to see him. I go, let's go see him. And
Got to see Rodney.
Yeah, and I read about that he liked scotch, so I bought a bottle of Glenlivet scotch.
Oh, yeah.
And we brought it to him with some, and we were so Minnesotan, we brought balloons. Mm-hmm. You know, congratulate, hello, Rodney.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's so silly.
Yeah.
And so he was so he was so moved by that. And he never forgot that I brought him that scotch.
Oh, yeah?
And then
because you'd see him over the years?
Yes. And then he came and performed at our little club and put us on the map. I called the press and I said, you know, Rodney's going to be there, or Jeff did. Somebody called the press.
How great was it to watch that guy?
Yeah, because we all went on first and he watched us.
Yeah.
And then he got up and went, boy, you play this club means you got no act.
Yeah.
You know, you really let us know.
I think he's one of the, like, he literally does not get the respect that he deserves. True. And I don't know why. You know, the same with Sam. You know, given that Sam was a monster.
I think among comics, they get the respect.
I guess so.
Because people, you know, comics know exactly if somebody's good or not.
Yeah.
And comics don't deny that.
Yeah.
But the public, we don't measure all the other things about Sam. We don't measure all the other things about Rodney.
Right.
We just measure, I mean, I don't know, Rodney was the last great character comic to live.
Yeah,
I mean, when Rodney came to our club, that was it.
Yeah.
And then he called me after that when I came to L.A. and said, I want you to do the Young Comedian special.
Right.
And Sam was on that.
Yeah.
That was an unbelievable experience because he said, I want you to go on last, kind of as a compliment to me.
This was shot at Dangerfield, right?
And I said, okay, but I didn't want to go on last. I wanted to go third.
Yeah, third's that's the
third's
place.
Always the best spot. Hey, let me just go on third so that you guys they'll be warmed up and then I can leave.
So you were on with
Sam went on fifth. Well, go ahead.
So it was you, Sam, Dom.
Yeah. Harry Basil.
Yeah.
Bob Saget.
Yeah.
Rita Rudner.
Yeah.
Howie Gold.
Wow.
Bob Nelson.
Yeah. Not Dom?
I don't think Dom was on that
Not
one.
on that one? And Sam?
He might have been, though.
Yeah.
But Bob Saget was on it.
Yeah.
I think I got everybody on there, but I probably missed somebody. And Sam. So, or it could just be the one Sam was on.
Yeah.
You know, because what happened was Sam went on fifth.
Yeah.
And nobody had ever seen Sam in New York City.
Yeah.
And I went, oh.
But you knew him from L.A. at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, he completely killed the room.
Yeah. Did he do well, though?
No, he killed,
Oh, yeah.
People saw somebody brand new.
Yeah.
And they went crazy.
Right.
They went crazy, and all you thought about is, oh, I'm on last.
How the fuck am I going to follow that?
Right. But luckily, I lucked out because after 4 more people, they had regrouped. Regrouped, and so I had a good set. But I still never forgot. That was the first time I saw a phenomena happen in front of me.
Sam.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw like when people must have saw Robin for the first time.
You're like, this is going to be
or Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Elvis.
Right.
It was that kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
He was like an Elvis. Like I think among comics, Sam was considered like one of the last groundbreaking people, don't you?
Well, I wonder because like I see a lot of young comics and everything else, and you know their heroes are a little different. And I think that Sam.
I don't think Sam was I don't think he could be our hero because I don't think we could emulate him.
Right, because he was a little wrong-minded, but stylistically,
he was a little wrong-minded. Is exactly right. Yeah, that's a really great way to put it.
But like stylistically, you know, you listen to that first record, like Hotter Than Hell, and you're like, holy shit, no one has done that. You know, and Hicks was his own thing, and they knew each other, but you know, Hicks went highbrow in a way, but Sam was
Hicks was a satirist, completely. Sam was a performer.
Yeah, he's a clown.
Am I right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think
he was a preacher,
but he had a shtick.
He had a shtick. He had a definite shtick. And he was a rock star comic.
Right. But when did you... Okay, so you come to L.A. in what year?
81.
Oh, my God. Really? Yeah. And then when did you get in at the store?
Jimmy Walker finally made Mitzi watch me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In what year? 82? 80?
It was I think it was 82. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
What did she say?
He's good. He's a sweater comic. I go, what? You're a sweater comic. Wear a sweater.
Yeah.
Don't wear a jacket.
Yeah.
All right, man. You're from the Midwest? And then she pinched my cheek.
Yeah.
I'm from the Midwest.
Yeah.
I love Mitzi.
Yeah.
She was always nice to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Did you wear a sweater?
I had it in the car. And she go, where's your sweater? I go, it's in the car. You want me to get it? No, but wear it next time. You know? Because I didn't want to wear a sweater. I didn't want to wear the sweater.
Yeah.
And
She told me to wear a scarf.
she did, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
See, we're
You're
sweater.
a poet. You should wear a scarf.
That's kind of a nice thing, though.
It is.
When that happened, when I started doing more work,
Yeah.
it was good. It was
Yeah.
good for me.
Yeah.
Because I was never caught up. Luckily, I was never caught up in all the bullshit.
Of varying kinds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just didn't get it. You know, I just said, oh, just get my time. I'd always say to Debbie, who was upstairs and
Yeah.
everything, get me an earlier time if you can. I want to get in and get out.
Yeah, that's what I do.
all.
Give me the third or fourth
Yeah.
spot. So I don't even know what that place looks like after 10:30.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
sometimes it's like it still gets weird. It's always going to be weird.
Yeah, you know, the OR is still like you know how good the set is.
Yeah.
If you go to the OR, I don't
Yeah.
care what the crowd is.
Yeah.
It's a really true
Oh yeah. And
barometer.
You
It's
can
a-
eat it in there.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can eat it easily. With just a piano player, you could just eat it.
Yeah.
You know, he can just go, ooh,
No good.
no good.
So
I went there
Yeah.
and worked. I was always first, second, or third on.
Yeah.
You know, I was always early. Mitzi just put me on early.
Yeah. And how'd you get the Tonight Show?
Oh, it's just, you know, that was a bitter pill for me. I auditioned for 2 years. Jim McCauley said, you're not, Johnny wouldn't like you. You're not
For 2
Carson
years.
material for 2 years. And then the Letterman people booked me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Tonight Show called the next day and said, we want John. And I thought, so I did it because
Yeah.
I wanted to do Johnny Carson show. Not anything against Dave, but that cost me dearly with Dave
It
for
did?
a while, for a couple of years.
Really?
The producer wouldn't have me.
Bob?
No, it was a woman. I can't think of her name.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She apologized to me later in life. You know, when I ran into her once. She goes, I'm sorry I did that, but we were so mad at you. And I wrote Dave a note, I think, once and said, hey, Dave, even you would have picked it.
And did he get back to you?
Then I was on shortly after that. So Dave kind of changed it. And I did Dave.
He
but-
was already gone by the time you got to the store, though, right?
Yeah, he was gone. He
Yeah.
was gone. He wasn't there.
So what was it like doing Johnny for the first time, being on that stage? Was your dad still around?
No, he was gone.
Ah.
But my mom was, so that was a good thing. And
Was it great?
you know what was so great about the Tonight Show was I was so prepared. You know, I had 9 Tonight Shows prepared when I got the first Tonight Show. I had 9 already.
Well, that's smart. That's what they
but
used to
what-
do.
Yeah, that's what I always said I'm going to have.
Yeah.
I'm going to get on the Tonight Show more than once, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I finally got on. And here's what I noticed. How little everything was back there.
Uh-huh.
That
Yeah,
little stage. And
Yeah.
I was behind that curtain.
Yeah.
That curtain that I watched,
Open,
honestly, for
right.
my whole life.
Yeah.
How cheaply made it look.
Yeah.
Up close.
Yeah.
And then that band come back and I could hear the pencil
Yeah.
hitting it and hear Johnny say, this next young man making his national television debut. He'll be opening at the Comedy Store at the Dunes Hotel tomorrow night. Please welcome Louie Anderson. And then really, I don't know what really happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but it was almost like an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
And I had a killer set, shook Johnny's hand, and
Did it change? Did it change your life?
Yeah, the next day I got a holding deal from NBC. Mm-hmm. And
Did it change the audience coming? Like, did people show up?
not quite yet.
Right.
You know, because, I mean, it did at a club or something. It did at a club. And then I did like 9 Tonight Shows in 6 months.
Wow. So that
I
you
did a
you're
lot.
lucky you were
Johnny
prepped.
really liked me. Johnny
Yeah.
really liked me.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't realize how much he liked me. I wish I would have been more conscious of that. You know, I was so full of myself, so
Right.
egotistical.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm
know.
doing another Tonight Show.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
you
sure.
actually take yourself seriously, which is a huge mistake. You know, you should really. That's why this second, wave of success I'm having in the show
Yeah.
is so I have it really.
You're humble.
Yeah, I'm not reading the reviews, so,
Right?
that stuff.
Well, everyone
You know.
loves you.
Yeah, they've been very nice to me about it.
Yeah.
But that Tonight Show, that was the pivotal point in our lives.
Yeah.
And that era, don't you feel?
Yeah.
Like that was the thing to do. And then Letterman, of course, was a lot of people picked Letterman. They wanted to be Letterman comics. They didn't really want to. But I don't know. I wanted to be a Carson comic.
I was too late for Carson.
Yeah, you were too late for Carson.
But when I didn't get my first Letterman until long after a lot of my friends did, and it was so thrilling. Like even.
It doesn't matter. Like it's such a personal journey.
Oh, it really is. Yeah,
the first Tonight Show, the first Letterman.
It's amazing.
Such a personal,
Like now, like a lot of that stuff doesn't really matter, and but to you, like to do Letterman, that was one of the things you were working
that was
for.
the touchstone. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That was our American Idol.
Yeah, well, it was, but as a comic, it was like, it was validation.
Rite of passage.
Rite of passage, sure.
Rite of passage.
And it was a validation. When my first Letterman, I dressed up,
yeah.
and I love that part of show business. Like, even when I do a theater or a club where you're backstage and you're like, look at this garbage. Like, this place is falling apart.
Yeah.
There's sad food there.
Yeah.
And who's this guy holding the thing? But I love being backstage because there's that moment where, like, this is really the dirty part of show business This is
walk to the to the clean part.
Theater, right? Exactly.
Yeah. And then walk back to the dirty part.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And you did the thing. But like when I was so ecstatic. Every time I did Letterman, I was ecstatic. And the one time that I was able to sit and talk to him, I couldn't even believe it was happening. And it wasn't that long ago.
Did you just keep looking at him when you were doing it?
Yeah, I was looking him right in the face.
You just go.
And
they know you're looking like that.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, he's gone. He's out of his tree. You know what I mean?
It was so thrilling. Like, it was the only time I did panel, and it was only a few years ago. I told this story about Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner because they'd both been on my podcast. And it got some real laughs, and and the producer was happy. They're like, he's a great guest. And I'm like, just in time for because I always wanted to be a panel comic, and I did that with Conan for years.
Yeah.
But like for me, watching Letterman and Richard Lewis or Jay or even George Miller, the panel guys,
Miller.
Right?
I love George.
Yeah, I just love the panel guys, the guys who had that dynamic with the host. And you're like, oh, here comes what's going on with this guy?
Yeah,
I always wanted to be that guy.
And those guys were naturals at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the Steinberg, and that was the early guy.
Yeah.
Who'd sit with Johnny and go, do his thing. But you're right, George Miller was a genius at it.
Yeah.
And some people were really good at it. I was more of like a joke
Stand-up guy. Yeah.
My panel was good, but it was joke oriented.
Right, sure.
I wanted to do jokes.
Sure.
I didn't know how to really interact with Johnny. I was terrified that I would upset him.
Did you ever sit there for a minute?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I had nice talks with him. How are things going? He goes, good. I go, they're good. Thanks to you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Don't thank me. He'd never take any credit for anything.
When you said you didn't do a lot of clubs because you were opening for musical acts and bigger venues.
I did find certain clubs I did all the time, like the Comedy Works, because I knew the people.
Denver,
one with the cave.
It's almost
the
too
cave.
Good. It's like you killing her, and you're like, that wasn't even a whole joke.
It's so true.
It's so good. You're like, it almost feels like cheating. It's like I can't trust that situation.
It's true though. It is. Then you try it later, and nothing. Hey, what about that? Yeah. I got a big laugh on that pause.
Nope.
Not here.
I don't know. There's something magic about that room.
Well, I think it was
just the ceilings are real low and downstairs.
It was like this. It was like an amphitheater.
Yeah, a little teeny amphitheater.
Teeny amphitheater. Yeah. And you just the laughs rolled right down to you.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And it got loud in there.
It's still amazing. Still amazing.
You could kill it.
So, how many dates do you do now? Do you do Vegas? You do a run?
100 and something, probably.
Really?
I still do. I don't do I quit the regular show in Vegas.
Yeah.
I just got tired of it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I got tired of it. Like you got 120 shows you're competing with.
Yeah.
And I just said, and then I got this show, and then I just said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to.
And you have to live there, or did you fly back and forth?
No, I live there. I live there. Yeah, I've lived there for 10 years.
You still live there?
I've had the show there for 10 years.
In Vegas?
Yeah.
So you live there now?
Yeah, I live there now.
Oh, you're just in town for a couple of days?
I'm in here. Yeah, I just came in to do some press, and people want to talk to me because they think I'm funny.
You are funny.
I know, but I was there for 10 years. Nobody called. I got to put a dress on, and everybody wants to talk to me. It's true. I'm happy, but I know what it's like. I mean, like I've always.
I would talk to you anytime.
Yeah, well,
even
that's
before the
sweet.
dress.
Thank you very much.
Now, you had the same agent as Bob Hope. Did you ever spend time with Bob Hope?
I did. Should I tell you my Bob Hope
Yeah.
story? So I'm at Bally's. Bob never played the stage in Vegas.
Yeah.
He thought it was beneath him.
Yeah.
Or his agent did,
Yeah.
or someone. So we do corporates, though. I go, and I said to my Frank, I go, I got to meet Bob Hope. I'm working in Bally's at the same time.
Yeah.
He goes, all right. I go, what's he getting for this? Because that's what comics want to go. He's getting $250,000, Louie.
Yeah.
I go, God, really? For just doing this? He's getting $250,000.
Just a corporate gig.
I go, can you get me one of those?
One.
I'll do a series of things for $250,000. And so I go up there. I've finished my show. I'm up there in the back watching him from a table off to the side.
How old was he then? Like,
oh man,
80s?
So it's got to be, yeah.
Yeah.
He looks terrific.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to tell you,
Yeah.
I was having a great time. Anyway, do the joke, and
Was
I
he
don't
killing?
remember. Killed it.
Yeah.
They were crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, and I'm just, and he's doing, it's going on 90 minutes that he's up there.
Really?
And I'm super impressed.
Oh, yeah.
I go, 90. Beautiful. Then he starts with, hey, let me bring my wife up here, Dolores. And then they do the songs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's amazing. It's, that
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
And he does, thanks for the memory. And everybody goes crazy. So then Frank signals me. He's about ready to get off. And I come back. And you know how a makeshift stage in a banquet room.
Right.
But a Bob Hope makeshift stage.
Right.
A little different.
Yeah.
And he comes, he's finished, he's done it. And he comes, and you know how you're coming to a rail, like a staircase?
Right, down from the platform.
Yeah, down from the platform. And he comes in, they go, how was it, Bob? God damn it. I tripped on a fucking cord going out there, and I could have been fucking killed. And so the whole time he was out there for 90 minutes, he had been waiting to yell at somebody.
About a cord.
Yeah. And he was so hot.
Yeah.
You want me to break my neck out there? And I just go, Bob. Yeah. Yeah, who's in charge of that? I want to get... And then Frank Rio goes, this is a young comedian, Louie Anderson, wanted to meet you. Oh, hi, kid. Anyway, if anybody knows, make sure those cords are never out there. Hi, kid. And that was it.
That was it.
Hi, kid.
Oh.
But I really appreciated it.
Sometimes it's funny with comics where, because I love comedy, you love comedy,
yeah.
and you have your heroes and stuff, and like there was like I couldn't meet Pryor, I just couldn't. Like when I was at the
I met him at the comedy show.
Sure. Well, when I was there, he
wasn't very friendly.
No, he was very aloof.
I think he was in his head doing his thing, or he didn't want to talk.
But I just remember, like, he came, it was after he burned himself up and he was starting to rebuild.
Oh,
and he went into the OR. It was when I was a doorman.
Yeah.
And he bombed, and he had a hard time with some audience members. There were these girls there. They were all excited because there was some rock band who were just watching, and they were distracted. And Rich did everything he could, and he's very vulnerable up there.
Yeah.
It was like really...
It's unbelievable how vulnerable he is.
It was. It was really a lot. And I watched him, one of my heroes just sort of like have a hard time. And then he got off stage and, he's smoking a cigarette, and I just watched him like walk down the hall with Mitzi. And it was like, it was enough. What am I going to do?
Yeah, that's a beautiful image right there. I saw that too. I didn't want to say anything either.
Yeah.
I just said hi.
Yeah. There were guys who were like even Rodney, who I met once.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
LeBeau told me the funniest story about Rodney and Sam, because him and Sam had a relationship later, when Rodney was, older, and Sam had been up for a few days. Carl, I can't remember exactly the story, but
he and Sam.
No, it was
Sam had been up.
Sam had been up, and he was calling Rodney, and he was in trouble of some kind, and it looked like it looked after 2 days of that shit.
Yeah,
just straight partying, and I guess it was Carl was there and Sam was there, and Rodney walked in and goes, "Oh, look at little Nero."
Rodney was the best. I was good friends with Rodney.
You were?
Yeah.
Like
I was with him when he died.
You
I was
were?
in the hospital, yeah.
Oh, my God, really?
Yeah, I was there for 30 days with Joan.
And he had later in life he had gotten on medicine and he felt better, right? He had
He was great. They did his surgery and he didn't come out of it.
Oh, really?
They were going to fix I think a vein or an aneurysm or something,
no
and
shit.
he never regained consciousness.
Oh.
You know, he was up there, you know, and he had a life.
But it was I was happy that like it seemed that he had found, because I think one of the reasons he gets a little overlooked is that he wasn't a social guy. You know, like he was a cranky.
He was right before social media, really.
But like with other comics, it seemed that he
loved them.
Yeah, he had a crew though, just his guys and everything. And he was heavy, man. You know, Richard Lewis used to say he used to call depression the heaviness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's heavy, man.
Yeah, yeah.
He said to me one time, you know, you're all right because, you know, you're a goy.
Yeah, yeah.
You got a goy head, you know. Yeah. He goes, I'm a Jew. I got a Jew head. I'm fucked because I got a Jew head.
I love him.
And I just said, I love you, Rodney. He goes, do you, kid? Thanks a lot, man.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I'd hug him. He hated being hugged. He goes, hey. I go, I'm going to hug you. I'm going to kiss you, too.
Yeah.
Hey.
You know who reminds me of him? I think like my generation's equivalent is Attell.
Yeah. Very, very similar. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Attell.
I love him. Great joke.
Such a great joke.
Oh, my God. It's astounding. He's one of those guys where you just watch. I've known him forever. Yeah, I rarely talk more than 3 minutes. He's like, what? I'm like, nothing. How you doing? Good. You? You know.
Yeah. But I like that I like people that are really real like that.
Oh, yeah, he's the best.
You know what? I always admired all the comics who chose a course that they could live with, even though it wouldn't be the most lucrative course. And it would probably be a harder road on.
I don't think they have a choice.
I think, well,
in their mind.
Yeah, maybe in their mind, but you know, they're really kind of heroes.
Yeah.
They're heroes in their thing, you know? Like they don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if you like me or not. I like those people.
Yeah.
I don't care if anyone likes me.
Yeah.
I think Rodney, I think he liked being liked.
Yeah, well, I think we all knew deep down. It's just hard to get to it.
Yeah.
You know,
but Rodney loved comics, you know, when they would hang around. They would, you know, he was always surprised that he was so famous.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
No.
He was surprised he was so famous.
Oh, really? You know me?
Yeah. Hey, geez. Hey, you like that, huh? Hey, you're a pretty girl, aren't you? But he was always he's really sweet. He was really sweet.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, you know, the greatest thing about our business is that we're all pretty connected.
We are. It's a secret club, and even if we don't like each other for whatever reason, you see each other, you're like, "Hey, you're still alive!
You're still alive!
You all right?
Yeah.
What happened to that other guy?
Yeah.
Oh, no good. That's sad.
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird. But I love you, and you know, you're one of the great comics, and I love talking to comics, and it was great talking to you. You feel like we did
Thank you. Yeah, we did it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and we'll do it again. We'll
sure.
come back. I'd love to